Gamers and gamerettes, ladies and gentlemen, PC gamers, hardware hoarders, men who think 8 GB
is still enough for gaming.
Come closer. I have a very sad story to tell you. The tech industry has once again delivered news so painful it feels like stepping barefoot on a Lego made out of freaking tungsten. Micron, the memory giant that's been feeding RAM to gamers for 29 freaking years, just stood up, stretched, cracked their knuckles, and said, "We're done with freaking consumers. We're feeding AI now.
Good luck with your sad little gaming rigs."
In other words, crucial, the brand your budget builds depended on like freaking oxygen is being yeeted into the sun. Not immediately though, but soon enough to make your wallets cry preemptively. As we all know, RAM prices were already rising like Bitcoin during a hype cycle, and now one of the biggest suppliers pulled the plug. They didn't trip though, they chose to. And AI is over here eating memory like freaking Pac-Man. And us gamers, we're in the corner like an abandoned chihuahua asking for freaking crumbs. So today, we're breaking this down in full. No sugarcoating, no soft gloves, just pure comedy, tech pain,
And a bit of emotional damage.
Micron is not some small garage startup working out of someone's basement next to a 3D printer and 4 monster cans. Oh no, Micron is one of the biggest memory manufacturers on freaking earth. They've been running Crucial, their consumer brand, for nearly 3 freaking decades. Crucial RAM and SSDs are the reason millions of PC builds didn't financially ruin people. It's affordable, reliable, everywhere. The peanut butter and jelly of gaming hardware. And now Micron they plainly said this. We're done with consumer RAM by February 2026. Crucial is dead. We're going full stupid AI. They didn't say it lovingly. They didn't even give us flowers. They left like a dad going out for cigarettes. But this time he's not coming back because AI pays freaking better. But why though? Why is AI paying better? Because AI is devouring RAM at freaking stupendous levels.
And I don't care if that is a word or not, I like it.
OpenAI is building server farms like Fortnite kids build towers, endlessly, aggressively, and with no remorse. The demand for memory in data centers is basically skyrocketing, and consumer PCs are basically third-class citizens now. DDR4 and DDR5 kits that were $80 to $100 not so long ago tripled. Not increased, not doubled, freaking tripled. Buying RAM in 2025 feels like bidding on organs on the freaking black market. Micron sees this. They follow the freaking money. Enterprise AI contracts equals to billions. Gamers buying RAM on sale on the other hand equals sadness. So Micron made the cold corporate financially juicy decision. AI gets priority. Humans who play video games do not. Crucial is disappearing from retail shelves. We're talking Amazon, Best Buy, Newegg. All of it will dry up like a raisin in the sun. Yeah, sure. The support will continue. For now, which is corporate speak for
enjoy it while it lasts before we pretend we don't even freaking know you.
And this comes during the worst possible time. We're already in a shortage. Prices were already rising. Then Micron pressed the gas pedal and drove it off a cliff while flipping the middle finger out the freaking window. Us gamers, we didn't lose a brand. We lost a lifeline. Now guys, this isn't just a supply problem. This is cultural mutation, a forced evolution arc for the entire PC ecosystem. Because when RAM becomes gold, people don't just spend more, they start behaving differently. Gamers aren't going to upgrade PCs anymore. They're going to preserve them like antique cars. People will dust RAM sticks like museum artifacts. A 32GB DDR5 kit will sit in a glass case like the Mona Lisa while alarms trigger if anyone looks at it freaking wrong. And here is something we haven't talked about anywhere else. This shortage is about to create a social hierarchy. We're entering the dark ages of PC building, where 8 GB users become villagers, 16 GB users become middle class, 32 GB users become royalty, and 64 GB users, well, that speaks for itself, guys. People used to brag about GPU horsepower. Now the real flex will be RAM. Kids will trade memory sticks in school bathrooms like contraband. LAN parties will look like black market auctions. The culture shift is inevitable. Power is defined by scarcity, and RAM is about to become the Bitcoin of freaking hardware. But guys, here is the crappier part. When RAM becomes a luxury, innovation slows down. Why develop RAM-hungry next-gen games when the consumer base can't even afford to run them? We're looking at fewer ambitious titles, more optimization-focused development, and a new era of
small is the new big.
Cyberpunk scale games? Maybe not. We might get Elden Ring Light, Starfield Diet Edition, Baldur's Gate 3, but with 12 NPCs and one freaking horse. this shortage will change visuals, AI systems, world building because developers will design for freaking poverty. Gamers won't push hardware, they'll survive alongside it. And guys, let's talk psychology because this hits the brain too. Gamers are emotional creatures. Hardware is identity. And when RAM becomes rare, we start to panic buy. This is how we end up with people stockpiling memory kits like apocalypse food, tech hoarders refusing to resell RAM even if they stop gaming, and eBay listings reading
Barely used, only open during full moons.
hardware will become dynastic wealth passed through generations.
Son, one day this 48GB DDR5 kit will be yours. Guard it with your life.
Micron didn't just shift to AI, they shifted the entire culture around PC hardware. We're not dealing with a market crash, guys. We're dealing with a tech civilization reset. Okay, so now we've dealt with the truth. Crucial is gone. The cheap savior, the budget guardian, the RAM fairy who sprinkled affordability onto broke students and low-income gamers. And now we stand here in a post-Crucial world staring across the battlefield at the remaining brands like contestants in a Hunger Games freaking arena. Some will save us, some will rob us, some will become monsters. Let's talk about them properly, not just as alternatives but as future rulers of the RAM kingdom. Firstly, let's talk about Corsair, the RGB aristocrat. Corsair RAM doesn't just work, it poses for pictures. It doesn't just sit inside your PC, it launches like royalty under RGB lighting. If Crucial was Walmart pricing, Corsair is Whole Foods plus imported truffles pricing. They have performance, stability, aesthetics, marketing power, everything. Which means with Crucial gone, Corsair doesn't even have to be competitively priced. They can slowly, subtly, gracefully raise prices like,
Oh, this kit used to be $120? Cute, now it's $240. But look, it glows.
and many gamers will still buy it because at the end of the day, RGB is mind control, and I admit I am one of them. Even if RAM is $300, gamers will say, at least it's addressable lighting. Corsair knows this and they will use it. Next up, we have G-Skill, the performance freak. Now guys, G-Skill RAM doesn't walk onto the battlefield. Oh no, it sprints in doing 52 MHz with cast timings that make your motherboards freaking sweat. With Crucial out, G-Skill is likely to become the new overlord of the overclockers. But once again, here's the nightmare. Performance dominance plus shortage equals price explosion. People who used to buy Crucial will now swarm G-Skill like pigs attacking food. Demand skyrockets, supply gets thin, scalpers arrive like freaking roaches. Imagine going to Micro Center and seeing an 8GB G-Skill sells for $150 freaking dollars, 16GB, $300, 32GB.
You need to trade your passport.
And you can bet overclocking culture will mutate too. Instead of doing it for fun, people will overclock because there is no money left to freaking upgrade. Extreme overclockers will become RAM shamans, whispering sweet timings into BIOS menus like ancient freaking rituals. They won't climb megahertz. They'll pray for it. Thirdly, we have Kingston, the stable middle class empire. Now guys, think of Kingston like this. It's a steady job, a healthy relationship, a stable income of the RAM market. Not flashy, not chaotic, just pure solid. But budget buyers losing Crucial means a mass migration into Kingston territory. Millions of former Crucial customers will transition here like refugees crossing a freaking border. Kingston could become the new default choice, the new best value, even if it's freaking expensive, or the new scalper gold rush zone. If demand overloads Kingston production, prices won't merely increase, they'll inflate like Fortnite item shop skins during freaking Christmas. The brand built on reliability may become the premium
By accident.
Fourthly, we have Team Group, the sleeper pick. Team Group, guys, has always been the don't sleep on them brand, the hidden gem, the underground answer to expensive RAM. But heavy pressure kills underdogs or makes them kings. If demand shifts their way dramatically, Team Group must increase supply, maintain quality, and survive market chaos. And if they fail one of those steps, scalpers swoop in, prices spike, and the underdog burns out. However, if they execute properly, Team Group could become the new Crucial, the new budget king, the last refuge of broke gamers who refuse to sell kidneys for freaking RAM. Their future depends on how quickly they adapt. And finally, we have Samsung, the titan who might save us or freaking doom us. Now guys, Samsung sits above the market like a RAM producing King Leonidas machine. They have factories, fabs, power, supply control. They can stabilize the market or destabilize it even further. But here is the terrifying part, guys. Samsung also feeds enterprises and AI sectors. If they follow Micron into the AI money pit, guys, if you thought RAMs were skyrocketing, Think of it like this now. It will freaking skyrocket into the freaking stratosphere. Samsung holds the fork in the road. If they keep consumer RAM strong, salvation. If they shift to AI entirely, gaming famine. What happens next depends on which side of the profit spectrum they pick. And guys, listen. Even with those options, prices will still climb. Sure, we still have RAM brands, but losing one giant changes the entire economy. Competitive pricing, gone. Budget builds, endangered. Future upgrades, premium freaking luxury. The ecosystem isn't collapsing, guys. It's mutating into something more expensive, elite, and unforgiving. Crucial's departure didn't remove RAM, guys. It removed the balance entirely. Crucial's exit isn't the end of RAM. It's the beginning of expensive RAM. Corsair, G-Skill, Kingston, Team Group, Samsung, they're still here. But now they're standing on a hill made entirely of profit potential. One giant just left the battlefield, and everyone else brought bigger swords. PC bids will continue, guys, but they will hurt. Wallets will weep. Gamers will adapt like radioactive rats scraping parts of eBay shelves. If Micron wants to run to AI, fine, let them. We'll keep gaming while AI trains itself to solve math problems and write breakup freaking poetry. But this shift might reshape hardware economics for freaking years. RAM will no longer be a cheap appetizer. It's the main course. And in this new world, every gigabyte counts. Literally. What do you guys think? Is this the beginning of years of suffering for gamers, or will the industry adapt faster than we expect? Drop your thoughts down below.
Preferably before someone starts trading RAM like freaking crypto.
And guys, thank you once again for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content in the future. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.